Friends, have you heard of a term called HarFanMaula or Sakala Kala Vallabha? It essentially means a person who's skilled at a wide range of art forms. Now, if you take out art and replace that with skill or activities, that is just what defines our new guest, or should I say, CoolKarni, Ashwin Kumar Bindu. Ashwin's journey started just like any of us. Engineering degree in Bangalore, headed outside the country for a master's degree and that too in information systems. But then a chance job in the contact center of Australia's top bank started off Ashwin's journey in a very exciting and a resourceful direction. And his interests today range right from real estate business and real estate investments to restaurant business to politics, while he's still continuing with his regular day job. In fact, I could sum it up this way. When your mom said, "Kuch seekho apne dost se," this is exactly the kind of dost that she referred to. Without further ado, let's dive into this two-part discussion with Ashwin Bindu. My request again, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, The CoolKarnis, where we meet such trailblazers. Thank you. Let's get started. Hello, Ashwin, and welcome to our show, The CoolKarnis. How are you?
I'm pretty good, Sanjeev. Thank you so much for having me there.
My pleasure, absolutely. Ashwin, for our viewers, I would request you to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Ashwin Bindu. I come from a North Karnataka background, but born and brought up at Hyderabad. I've come to Australia in 2003, February, and since then I call Australia home.
Wonderful. That is one part of your introduction.
Yep.
Do you want to add something else to your introduction?
Well, yeah, sure. If you want to dig deeper into the conversation about me, and
that's the whole idea of this podcast.
Fair enough. So, yeah, I have started off my career in Hyderabad. I have done my Bachelor of Science in Hyderabad at one of the prestigious universities called Osmania University, affiliated with Nizam College. So it's an autonomous college, and then my dad had an intention of, or he always wanted his son to become an engineer, right? So then after my BSc, general way of studies, or your career path is to go to MSc and stuff like that, or MCA, which is what the computer science background was, but he always wanted his son to become an engineer, right? So I also felt that I should have. In the first attempt I could not get through, but in the second attempt when I got through in Karnataka, where I think at that time the people who were living outside Karnataka till now also is called as Hornadu Kannadiga.
Correct.
So in that I got an admission in Karnataka. So I was fortunate to study in Bangalore, and then I took up my bachelor's of engineering in computer science. So I did my double bachelor's per se.
Then बच्चा engineer बन गया.
ख्वाहिश एक टिक पूरा हो गया. Then every Indian household, especially the way where I come from, there was a peer pressure that बच्चा जाना है बाहर, बच्चा बाहर एक बार जाके आना है.
अभी बाहर गाँव जाए तो अच्छा है.
तो हैदराबाद से बैंगलोर sufficient हुआ नहीं. So I mean, because my sister was in US when I was doing my engineering, and she had got married and she left there. So there was always a first preference that I had to go to US to do my higher studies because of the potential that I had, which I did not know that myself, but my father knew that I had some potential that I would become something. Unfortunately, I couldn't get through to US visa, and then that made me to apply for Australian visa.
Okay.
And then I came to Australia in 2003 February, as I mentioned, and did my Masters of Information Technology in Swinburne University.
Fantastic. यानी बच्चा ख्वाहिश 2-3 ख्वाहिश पार हो गया. बच्चा इंजीनियर हो गया. He went outside the country and became a master's also.
Well, थोड़े हालात भी बदले, and unfortunately I lost him in 2004.
Sorry to hear that.
And then in Australia at that time, 1 year when we came to Australia in 2003, the rule was that 1 year when you are in Australia with your proper degree, you are eligible to apply for your permanent residency.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, because I had to, on the day of my exam, I had an unfortunate call that I had to travel back. And when I went back, for my dad's funeral and stuff like that, then when I came back in March that year in 2004, the rule has slightly changed, meaning which a person had to have minimum of 2 years of
like it is right
education,
now.
2 years of degree rather.
Okay.
And when I came, because of my credential that I had in my bachelor's of engineering, I got a 1 year scholarship at Swinburne, and then I had to study 1 year only instead of 2 years masters. So technically masters is 2 years, but I did it for 1 year because I got 1 year scholarship. But then because of this rule that was implemented in March, April 2004, it meant that I had to do another course. So with the first master's degree, I had applied for another master's degree, which I have done in a Master of Information Systems and Management.
Wow.
So my education has spanned over a period of almost, until age of 28. I was studying because once I get into the professional mode, I was sure that I wouldn't be able to continue or go back to my education.
Fair enough. So, one thing on a serious note I would say is that your father, sadly he left at that time, but I'm sure he'd be very happy to see that you took his aspirations quite ahead.
Certainly, unke bacche, he was very particular that education was the only motive that he was encouraging us to do. Everything else took a backseat for him. Yeah, whether we need to attend any cousin's wedding or anything for that matter was always the second priority, and education was always a first priority.
Wonderful. So, friends, as you would have seen right now, Ashwin is he will open up. I'm pretty sure that in the duration of this podcast, he'll open up more and you will see the other side of Ashwin. But obviously, he is given a very soft and a very mild and a humble introduction of himself. Abhi Ashwin ka introduction मैं देता हूँ. So, think of it like this. If most of us who are our friends who might be listening to this would probably be immigrants into a country, or even if you can imagine, even my friends from India, if you can imagine what the journey of an immigrant can be when you get into a country, and what are the set of things that an immigrant would need, वो पूरा journey को visualize कीजिए, and you will see Ashwin or Ashwin's circle of friends and associates in each and every point of that. Starting with, if you want a visa of how to get into the country. Once you get into the country, you're like, oh man, I'm missing home food, so you want ghar ka khana. Then you will be like, arey yaar, okay, I think I'm settling in, maybe I've figured out a job, I need a social or a cultural circle. So there are certain things that Ashwin is involved in, you'll get to know that. Then you might settle down for a while and be like, mujhe ghar lena hai. So then if you want to buy a house, the process of buying a house, whether it is you need an agent, you need a loan, you need a builder, you need a vastu design for it, all of that. Then as you start getting a little bit into higher echelons and you say that, okay, I'm well settled, I want to start on a cultural journey, adhyatmic journey. There is a cultural and a religious association that Ashwin is associated with. And then when you reach the real pinnacle and you say like, bhai, like now I've settled, I have some political aspirations or I need some political support. Ashwin is in that as well. So now with the limited introduction that he gave, this is the introduction that I am giving you. And Ashwin, when I think of you, I get a kind of a feeling of that Dashavatar, like,
लोग भी सोचेंगे सही में है क्या ये बंदा ऐसा
multiple सिर है, multiple हाथ है, कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा है, everything is happening at the same time. So I want to ask you, start from the start. Okay, this is the Ashwin we know now, right? You have been in Australia for 21 years now. This is the Ashwin we know now. But the Ashwin growing up in Hyderabad, the Ashwin during his childhood, were you this enterprising then as well? Class के like monitor type थे क्या?
See, it is जो बोलते हैं ना, जो करना है तो करेगा बंदा, वो हुक और कुक, whether you like it or not. अगर ना चाहते हो भी मेरे को करना पड़ रहा था, क्योंकि until 10+2, I had my way. Then my dad said this guy has to become serious because I was a bit naughty as well. Not bit naughty, बहुत सारा naughty था. So मुझे डांट भी काफी पड़ रहा था because I have older and a younger sibling, both girls, and they ऑब्वियसली जो भी करते थे, मेरी छोटी बहन थोड़ा वो थोड़ा मिस्chievous थी, मैं और वो जो ज्यादा झगड़ रहे थे, तो उसको डांट नहीं पड़ रहा था क्योंकि मुझे मारना और या जो भी आसान है डैडी को, तो ही यूज्ड टू गेट मी इनटू द लाइन. सो मुझे दिक्कत कब आया कि बीएससी में, व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग, क्योंकि my father was also in the education industry in Osmania University, and the college that I go is all the professors that I was being taught by were all his friends.
Dad's friends,
So they used to, even though the college premises, the campus was totally segregated about 10 to 12 kilometers apart, he used to get, उस दिन तो phone, mobile phones कुछ नहीं थे, I mean phones थे landline, who would go and put an effort to आपके बच्चा आज आया नहीं, करा नहीं करके, तो mobile phones तो थे नहीं, pages भी was not introduced. So I was feeling scared to bunk any class. फिर भी कर रहा था मैं, एक दो बात कर ले रहे थे, क्योंकि that is what बच्चे boys or boys. So then my dad used to get all the report, क्योंकि अरे चारी साहब आपका बच्चा आज दिखा नहीं, वो नहीं. दिन घर पे आके मूड पे ही समझ में आ रहा था कि क्या हो रहा था बोल के, इनको आ गया खबर कहीं से कहीं. So then that actually kept me, I made sure that I attended those particular lecturers' classes, so that at least जाके सामने first bench में बैठना. But actually वो करते 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 I was very serious and also became studious at particular point in time. First year देखते देखते टल गया. Second year, third year, then what was happening at that point in time in BSc का बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, कि I was more studious. I was going to classes very regularly. My friends used to bunk classes, they were outside. But any engineering or BSc kid or a student would generally do.
Correct.
And I was going because of this, fear that I had in me and stuff like that. But when I took notes and everything, they actually, my friends, during the time of examination, were heavily reliant on my notes. So knowingly or unknowingly, I used to take up all the notes that was given by the lecturers and stuff like that. And actually, it also got published. My mathematics teacher, he was very fond of me, and the way I used to solve the maths and everything, he actually took that and he gave it to a publisher to publish that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your notes, the way you took, became.
Yeah, so मैं Xerox के लिए मेरे फ्रेंड्स लेके आके मेरे कॉपी करके जा रहा था, तो Xerox बंदा भी वहां पे जाके आपको आप वो लोग कैसा हो गया, वो तो एक वन पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट इन टाइम, दिस इज इन निजाम कॉलेज, आज भी जाएंगे तो अगर वो चिराग गली करके एक है, वहां पे जाएंगे आप तो एक Xerox कॉपी का मशीन, Xerox मशीन का एक ये शॉप है. हाँ. अश्विन का मैथ्स नोट्स दो, अश्विन का फिजिक्स नोट्स दो, अश्विन का केमिस्ट्री नोट्स दो. He used to give. I was till if I reflect back, till date my friends, on a teacher's day they wish me.
And then I'm sure that these notes are still circulating. So any of your viewers from Hyderabad, if you come across Ashwin's notes, this is the Ashwin sir जिसके notes आप लोग पढ़ रहे हो अभी तक.
And unfortunately, I have only one copy that is back in Hyderabad. I couldn't show it to you here, but yeah, I'm very proud that at that time I have achieved that.
So Ashwin, in your set of your repertoire of things that you have done, I didn't know you were a published author. So I got to know
I myself did not know until the lecturer showed me that ये आपका छप गया. And they used to refer to that notes, and the people, I was really proud that Nizamians, what we call ourselves now, and they have studied that and they have scored good marks and they are into a very, college के बाहर आना है तो पास होना है ना आपको. So मेरा आज भी वो रिकॉर्ड है वहाँ पे, तो I'm really happy and proud that it is someone, I have done something to my friends around.
क्या बात है मियाँ, वो शाना निकले तुम.
क्या करें मियाँ, बोलो जानते भी नहीं था मैं, निकल गया. Then when I went to engineering, mine was the first batch of engineering. So it was in a jungle. The engineering college was the first batch.
Which college did you say this was?
This was in Bangalore, called Acharya Pathashala.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In Somnahalli. So this college was I was the first batch student in 1997. So I was the one who started the hostel there. And we were about 102 batches. Only electronics and computer science was the only two branches that got affiliated back then in 1997. And I was the first one to be proud to say that, and when I joined, there was no hostel, nothing whatsoever. The only one workshop was there, huge workshop, because it was in the jungle. We had luxury of space and everything in Bangalore, outside of Bangalore, about 26 kilometers from Bangalore. So वहाँ पे they converted the classroom, not a classroom, sorry, a workshop. ITI का फिटर टर्नर का कार्पेंट्री वर्कशॉप था, वो निकाल के they have put 17 beds, makeshift beds, जो पोर्टेबल बेड्स रहते ना. सो हम लोग 17 लोग, we all spread all across India, majorly from Andhra and outside Karnataka, outside Bangalore, sorry, and then couple of people from Delhi and stuff like that. They came and we all stayed together. For 17 of us. So the hostel started with the 17 of us. It was I would say, it was one of the more, I have learned life there.
Yes.
Put it that way. Because until I left Hyderabad, I was under the care of mom and dad. I was getting spoiled. When I get home, the food was on the table. All I need to do is put it on the plate and then have it. But when I went there, that is when I learned the life hard way. Because we had to cook, there was no cook, and I had to go almost, we used to walk about 6 kilometers on a night of it. Because एक बार जंगल के बाद, after 6 o'clock at that particular point in time in 97, that's I'm talking, November, ठंडी का मौसम, शाम जल्दी ढल रहा था, and then I used to walk 6 kilometers to fetch the food and the dinner.
Oh gosh.
So that was a repeated task day in day out.
Now when you think it sounds scary, but I'm guessing कि वो time पे you would have been like,
yeah, because बच्चे थे, नहीं तो हम लोग जान, for example, if one person is not able to go for whatever reason, he's sick or he's busy, or we used to get food for him, Of course, he used to pay for that, that's a different story. But at least, जाके it was a no one knew, none of 17 knew each other before then. Okay.
And you all are still in touch?
Yes, most of us are in touch. Not everyone, because everyone is scattered and everything.
Correct.
We don't get to talk to each other, but most of us are together. I mean, I have talked to most of them are now settled in Bangalore. Few have moved to US and UK and everywhere else. But we have a common circle that we get through WhatsApp, and then I'm proud that I still keep in touch with a few of my friends. Really. And then that grew from that stage. We slowly grew, and I think when I left I finished my engineering in 2001, the hostel capacity was about 130 or 140 students there. Because we had all the other branches added to that, like MCA and everything got added. And then hostel now, I think, is one of the most sought university or campuses or colleges that anyone would like to get into as an engineering. Yeah.
Fantastic. And you're the first. So in that sense, Ashwin, your and my stories are somewhat similar. And as we progress, I'll probably share a few. But in terms of this, being the first amongst the alumni for the college, I wouldn't say that we were the first, but we were the third year. Okay. We didn't have a single year that had still passed out yet.
Oh, okay.
So ours was a relatively new college as well. The podcast that is just going on live right now was with another college friend where we talked of our journey.
Oh, right.
So ऐसे ही कुछ stories हमारे भी थे. Of course, that was in Mumbai itself. So I was not a
outsider.
I mean, I was not staying in a hostel, or I was a day scholar. But then a few of my friends were hostelites.
Oh, right.
So yes, of stories, these are all relatable.
Sorry, you continue.
And surely that journey teaches us a lot.
Certainly.
In a hindsight, I feel I could have learned more. I probably should have corrected a few of my ways so that I could have learned more. But nonetheless, there is still a lot that it has taught, shaped us, and that's probably what we are all relying on right now.
It's a journey that we have all had, I think, everyone, I think not just, you and me, I think the circle that we come up with, or we have around us, everyone has put an effort to get there wherever they are.
Correct.
And it did not come to them any easy. Even for me, I've lost so many loved ones during my journey to here till date.
Correct.
But it comes with a package.
Absolutely. That's a part of life. But you still haven't answered the question. So I will ask the question again, and then maybe get going in the journey, right? So what I'm trying to understand is, were you as enterprising then? Because the way, if I were to give another visual of you, if I were to give another visual of you, one visual was a Dashavatara that I gave in multiple hands, right? Another visual, guys, I would say is that try to imagine how many things can you juggle. If you're a juggler, how many balls can you juggle? I can't juggle. At best, if I try, I'll juggle 3 balls. Look at him. He'll be having multiple things going on at the same time. And at any point in time, if you're calling Ashwin for anything, maybe I would be happy to know if he considers me also as one of those close friends. But regardless, if you're reaching out to Ashwin, you will hear back from him within a day, or at best, next day, with whatever your request is and with a solution for that. So my question is, how did this enterprising journey start? Were you always like this?
I have that, I'm an extrovert, needless to say that, but, I was given a task to perform my college first year anniversary with a 3 days notice. This is back in engineering. I did not know a head and tail and stuff like that. And it just so happened because the workforce or the people that I have around me is my strength. Okay, I can rely on people, and it comes with, so much hard work, dedication. And in doing that, going through the journey, I have committed so many mistakes. I've learned from those mistakes. So today, if you are saying that, thank you for so much, confidence that you have in me, and I've still, needless to say that you are certainly part of my first circle, without a doubt, but the knowledge that I have gained, I'm not saying that, I have no complete knowledge. I will never say that because I'm still learning. That is what I am.
Correct.
I am very eager and passionate and also hungry to learn. So that is what is putting me in the driver's seat to get information as much as I can. So, and as you said, people come to me and ask me or call me for anything. My wife teases me that, you are on people's speed dial list. I'm never in your list. In that field. So people call me for anything and everything. I am proud that, I've been, that way. I'm really happy that people call me and think about me if any issues or anything that they want to know. I wouldn't say not necessarily that it is a bad thing, but in a good way, people call me, and 9 out of 10 times I find an answer for them, and that is because I show interest in what I do. I'm very passionate in certain things that I want to do, and when I say something, I would have researched about it prior, and also I might have learned it the hard way. I might be a failure in what I've tried, and I've come up. I won't.
I will find it hard to believe that you have been a failure in something.
Well, see, that is a journey that I'm proud to say that, I've learned from my mistakes, right? Everyone, has cakewalk situations, but for me, certain things I have learned the hard way, and that has been there for me forever. And I think maybe that is the experience that I gained from those hard learnings.
Sure.
That, I'm getting in a positive direction today.
Is there any you would like to share, or you'd be comfortable sharing?
None. I mean, there are a few things, when I came, to Australia, right? The financial situation was not super great. We come from a middle class family, and my dad only gave me a certain amount, which was very, very $1,500. I came to Australia when I landed here. So I had to manage those 1,500 without knowing when I would get my first job. So, and when I came, I stayed in a dorm in South Era for a week. And first day, I thought maybe I'll just have breakfast, go to college, come back for lunch. But dorm guy, when I came back and said, no, your dorm is not paid for lunch, you just have breakfast and that's it. When I said dorm, it is not even size of this room, it is half the size, and there are 6 bunk beds and 6 bunk 3 on each side, right? And then you have a shower in a common area and then go to college. And after 1 week, that I have paid almost, I think, about $200 or so. Back then it was because we were sharing, it was still okay. But the moment the money started going out from the bank account, I started feeling the pinch, right?
Correct.
So then we started to looking for a house amongst 4 or 5 friends who came together from a consultant. There were instances where 3 nights I had to sleep on the road outside the university just to save the money. Yeah, and that was one of the lessons that I have learned during that journey and luckily it was not cold, it was in February, so that way it was okay. Morning we used to be around, but 2 friends, there is guy, I would like to acknowledge them on this podcast through CoolKarnis, is that there are 2 guys. One is Rajshekhar, another one is Sunil Tokla. They were the one who actually took us to their house. They did not need to do that. We were total strangers, we never knew who they are. They took us to their house because we had 2 girls with us who believed that we all two.
Who were also...
No. Okay. It was me and another friend of mine who stayed, and those girls actually went and stayed with them. So I mean, with the other boys and everything. So we just requested that because they are girls, can you just accommodate them? They also asked us, but we feel it was too much obligation on them as well. But I think those days, they took us to their place, they fed us. Because every time you go outside and eat, it is $5.50. That's what I remember. Correct. Still.
Correct.
For one whatever, it is not belly full either. So and ठोकर खा के like रोड के ऊपर जो भी फ्री मिलता था पहले हम लोग we never used to say no.
Correct.
दे भाई बाद में देख लेंगे.
Absolutely.
Then it took me 3 months to get a job, and the journey then it started, and then Dad passing away did not help either, because when I went back and came back, I had failed that exam. Because I was totally concentrating on some personal this one, and I couldn't get through the exam. Because I couldn't get through the exam, I had to come back and reappear that exam. By the time I reappeared, the rules changed. Then I had to go and obviously ask for financial help from my family. So, and I was very fortunate, as I've said, that because one thing I did not tell my dad that I failed the exam, or he was at that time I think one of the exam was on the brink, so I did tell him that I did do well and stuff like that, because वो तो रहता है ना, family में घर पे बताए तो फिर लाते जूते पड़ते मार पड़ते डांट पड़ता है. Correct. So छुपाया था मैंने. So then later on when I got through that exam, but I got it late. So यहाँ पे आपको, I'm sure you know, or by now you might have heard from others as well, that every time you fail, one subject cost about $2,500.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Okay. Yeah, at that time when I came, it was about.
You mean to reappear for the exam? And yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know this.
So that comes out from your pocket, which then
that's not part of the scholarship.
No, nothing like whatsoever, right? Because you failed, right?
Correct.
So then I had to appear for that exam and then get through that and stuff like that. Then I had to also go and do another masters, because I was not eligible to become a permanent resident. So उसके लिए फिर से 8,000 या 10-12,000, I think about. I spent about 8,000 per semester then. Correct. So then I had to fetch that money from elsewhere. I was very fortunate that before I came to Australia, I would like to go on record as well, is that my brother-in-law, Pradeep Jiaji, and
your sister in US.
Yeah, this is in Bangalore.
Okay.
He helped me a lot with respect to finances and stuff like that. And when I did my second masters, my another brother-in-laws in US now, Ramu Jiaji and Amit Jiaji, they helped me financially to, they gave me a security saying that don't stress about it, study, don't worry, we'll sort it out later. And, they never expected anything back.
Absolutely.
So, but, I had this one that I had to pay back. But in all doing so, for whatever I'm today, or whatever the grooming that I got from is from my brother Ajit. So, he lives in Bangalore, takes care of all of us. So, going back to the point, the hard lessons learned is, one of the lessons that I learned was, getting intimidated by others when I was on the road, because back then I did not know anything. And also when I came to Australia, the skin mattered. But luckily now everything has been, really in a positive manner that we are dealing with in the current generation, current situation. मैं एक दो सुनता हूँ इधर होता है करके, but again that is can be excused, but at that time there was so much resistance.
Yes, yeah. So this is really a touching part, Ashwin, and I did not know this side of you at all. So thanks for sharing and bearing this with us in a way. But I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is like, as I say, muflisi काफी कुछ सिखा देती है.
Correct.
Right. I mean, when it's a hand to mouth existence. Not that our family is not well to do or whatever, but when many of us, hopefully again many of you can relate, when you are in a foreign country, regardless of whether you come from a decent family background or not, there is that pressure that automatically comes on us. True. That I can't go back to my parents to ask for more.
Yeah.
I need to figure out something myself.
True.
I need to do something. आपका तो extreme है. मेरे केस में मैं कहूँगा I did not probably go to that extreme. But then the extreme that I went to was, in order to cut the rent or cut the cost or how much is outgoing, I had to go to a part of the suburb which probably people would not go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So like दिख जाते थे लोग.
बराबर.
I don't want to get into specifics, but you can imagine मैं कैसे लोग की बात कर रहा हूँ. जो बंदूक निकाल के types, like they'll walk around ही आप डर जाओगे.
बराबर.
So all of this, have been around. So can totally relate to, and I don't know if it's the right way to say, but you kind of grow a few years when these kind of instances happen to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, you learn. I mean, you say that okay, वो situation से तो बाहर आ गए, so you can deal with.
You can deal with other things.
So I think those are one of the experiences that I say that okay, don't take anything lightly that comes your way. There is a reason why it has happened. Some things have happened for a reason, unknowingly or knowingly, right?
Absolutely.
And then slowly after I did my second masters, things have changed for good. I got a decent job in Commonwealth Bank. That was my first job that I started in 2005 in Combank, and that is when my finance interest grew. So I was always interested in finance because I have a good management when it comes to managing.
We figured that out, na? Ashwin sir के maths के lectures books मिलते हैं या नहीं तो.
So I mean, I had some passion, knowingly or unknowingly. I was doing this finance thing in the background, but even though I studied IT and management, information systems and stuff like that, but finance was something which came natural to me. So I'm getting first job in Commonwealth Bank back then.
And this was in the non-IT space, right? You were actually on the floors.
See, I started off in a call center, dealing with home loans, basically, with a home loan, setting up the appointments and understanding the needs of the customer and stuff like that. And those are the questions I still ask today. Because that is how those are the basic. So ABCD जो बोलते हैं, जो 26 letters that we have to know for any sentences formation. These are the basics that you need to do as a needs analysis for any customer, any financial institution that I have associated with. And that is the training that I got from Commonwealth Bank at that time. And I would probably say that I was associated with them, and that is where my finance interest grew. And then I did a diploma as well in mortgage broking. And I still hold a license for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So that is where I can go and recommend a particular product. And again, it's a need basis. Where every customer's needs are different. So that is where my finance recommendation come through. There is one part. Second part, you also touched upon Adhyatmik, which I will come to that.
We will come to later.
Later. Yeah. And in terms of real estate, again, I'm very associated and deeply buried in that. Because of the finance background, I also started looking into that aspect, and then that gave me more interest to build my portfolio. There is, again, we can dwell on it as in it required. Yeah, that's me. So basically, so I have fortunate that I have few cousins here around me and few long-term friends as well. So.
And that's a key. You mentioned this yourself. You probably refer to yourself as an extrovert, but being extrovert is one part of it. But the other part of it is how close you hold your relations.
Yeah.
So कभी-कभी मुझे लगता है कि पता नहीं अभी what is the most trendy course. 4 core, 5 core is probably where it is. But I feel that you're probably more in the 12 core. Type the amount of processing that you're able to do in your head. I think it's at a different level. But I want to take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
You mentioned about Sunil and Raj.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, is this the same Raj that you're associated with today, or is this a different Raj?
No, it's a different Raj. So he came after me. There is a long story, and that actually dwells into a political area.
Correct.
The Raj Saini. So,
but sorry, before you go there, the 2 gentlemen that you referred to, so we'll once again acknowledge and thank them. That the Ashwin that we sit and talk to here, you all may think that these are small helps that you do, sir, but these small things will touch our lives and touch people's life and stay in our minds forever. And I'm sure,
without a doubt,
Ashwin will also agree to this with what you all did.
I don't know if they remember me or not, but I'm sure Sunil remembers me, and Raj also. They also talk highly about me, but they are the 2 people I would like to acknowledge, and everyone in my family, they know their 2 names, even though they have not met them physically. But those small things, as you rightly said, right? It may be a small thing, right? Touch base or one meal and stuff like that, but it takes a long way. I am the person who often don't forget the help or someone provided me, and whatever I am today is because of so much contribution from people around me into my life, which they did not have to do it, but they have done it.
And I would also like to tell our viewers that Ashwin continues the trend in a way. He totally is the one who believes neki karo darya mein dal.
Yeah.
Because he will, you can ask anything of him, like he himself mentioned, because of the level of things that he's connected with and the connections that he has formed. You can ask him anytime, anything, he will give that to you and he'll forget about it. He is not somebody who पहले मैं तेरे को वो दिया था तो मेरे को बदले में ये चाहिए ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है.
Never. I don't expect anything back ना.
Right.
Yeah. So मैं आपको करूँगा तो कोई और मेरे को करेगा. It doesn't have to be coming from you. Maybe yeah.
So, correct. तो मैंने आपके जो इंट्रोडक्शन में जो बोला, I told a sequence of things, but as I'm learning now, probably the sequence is not exactly that way.
I'm sorry,
I've just deleted it. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We want to understand the life journey the way it went.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that the finance part is what started first with you, right?
Yes,
after you came here.
Yeah, that is the professional journey that I started off with. Was in 2000, and this was because full time. Yeah,
correct.
Part-time student in time I was in something else, part-time job.
Which
everyone does.
Correct.
But full-time karna tha, that I got it in professional working environment after my education was. My education was totally different. I started off with totally different in the finance industry in 2005. That's right.
Correct. Okay. So I want to continue the journey, but थोड़ा माहौल को थोड़ा लाइटन करता हूँ. Okay. तो एक बात बताइए, यानी ये जो यानी
समझ रहा
तो ये यानी 8 साल पढ़ाई करने की वजह से हुआ है कि
आपको क्या लगता है
उसके बाद यानी कुछ लाइफ में कुछ विशेष घटनाएं होने के बाद की जर्नी है, ये क्या बोलोगे?
आपको क्या लगता है?
मुझे तो लगता है पढ़ाई का होगा शायद.
नहीं यार, पढ़ाई की तो आई डोंट थिंक सो. बहुत सारे हस्तियां हैं. यू हैव स्टडीड मोर देन व्हाट आई हैव डन. आई एम जस्ट अ ड्रॉप इन द ओशन काइंड ऑफ थिंग. बट आई थिंक by doing all of this, there's more. Maybe I don't want to blame the Australian water and stuff like that, but hereditary is one of that.
Correct.
So 3 of my uncles out of 5 uncles had, they got bald. Maybe I am the youngest one in the family who might have got it at an early stage.
But this is a cool thing now.
I know.
शाका जैसा रुख रख के ऐसा, this is a cool thing.
When तबला तो सीख नहीं पाए, at least
तबला बजा लो ऐसा टकड़क करके. Absolutely. Okay, तो चलिए after that light note थोड़ा continue करते हैं. So finance has obviously led you towards real estate, and that is understandable because incidentally you started in home loans. But मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अश्विन, अगर home loans के जगह पे अगर आपको शायद institutional side of the bank पे डालते तो आप वहां पे भी कुछ ना कुछ सीख के उस साइड में जाते हैं आप. Because that's just how you are.
Correct. As I've said, any finance that was thrown at me, I would have grabbed them. Because at that time job मिलना मुश्किल था, and whatever came my way, I grabbed it. I did not even had a second thought that maybe should I wait or should I not. Yes, after I grabbed the opportunity, then I started exploring my potential as to span my wings in my field of study. And when I started doing that, that's when I got into IT industry.
How long did you do the banking?
3 years.
3 years, okay.
Yeah. In 2008, I got into IT. Telstra. So I'm still with Telstra. So so I'm proud that I'm still there. And I've done various roles throughout my journey of 17 years.
So that's 16, 17 years. So you're a semi-dinosaur. You're not a dinosaur yet.
Yeah. No, not really.
You're a semi-dinosaur. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So amongst all the set of things that we said, he does have a daytime job. So now you can really realize what it takes to say that, despite all this, he will return your call in a day with whatever you ask him at any point in time, right? Acha. So then that's how you got into IT. That's how you're in Telstra. But with due respect to the work that you do at Telstra, हम उस पे ज़्यादा delve नहीं करेंगे.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Because I want to take an opportunity to tell you about what the CoolKarnis is.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So the name the CoolKarnis comes from the fact that it is interviewing and understanding people who are into CoolKarnis and understand their cool deeds or karnis, right? And it's also the other thing that we also like to delve into is that this is about people who have defied the stereotype, who have not gotten into the stereotype, who have forged new paths, who have broken new barriers and so on, right? So from your perspective, what I see, Ashwin, is that you perfectly fit that as a CoolKarni, but not because you have kind of left the stereotype. You are very much there,
into there, yeah.
But you are still continuing all these things. एक दो passion भाई समझ में आता है, but you are continuing all these things either directly yourself or through a circle of friends and associates that you have who are able to give this, right? So again, I want to go back to the question. आपने कभी सोचा था कि like the kind of things that you do is a complete 180 degrees for an immigrant who wants to come into the country? Had you thought of it like this?
So actually that unknowingly I got into that area. Okay, so never in my mind that I thought that I would be wearing so many different hats and answering so many questions to relieve the information to the people, right? But during the course of journey, it so happened that I got into bits and pieces here and there, and वो भी अच्छा लग रहा था, ये भी अच्छा लग रहा था, I'm master of none, jack of all trades, master of none के type में घुस जा रहा था सभी इसमें, because I was hungry for information. I was hungry to learn. I was, so that maybe made me to get into those avenues, which at times become too much as well. घर पे थोड़ा डांट भी पड़ता है उसके वजह से, and it comes with the package, as I've said.
Correct.
So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Let's take one step further then, because another thing that I found very interesting, and I know Ashwin for the past 12 years after I moved to Australia in 2012, so I've known him since then. He has always been a constant source of guide and a go-to person if I need to ask him something and understand more about the Australian ways, and we'll come to that also in a bit. But even then, I had seen that you had already ventured into some things beyond just the real estate and finance, right? You were into a restaurant business at that time. And I believe the visa had also somewhat started by then. Right?
So visa, because my I can proudly call him as my brother, Raj Saini. So Raj, I and Raj are neighbors back in India, Hyderabad. So वो बचपन से जब वो पैदा हुआ तब से मैं.
He's younger to you.
He's much younger.
Okay.
Much younger. He's I think 87 born and 76 born. So वो जब से पैदा हुआ तब से मैं उसको देख रहा हूँ खेलना पीलना. So he came here in 2012. No, 2011. So then वो आया, and he had gone through a lot of just similar to my journey. He had gone through a lot of hardship. So when he had to leave the country, so he actually gone and fought with the immigration officials, saying that I cannot leave the country because my owner needs my services, who is totally bedridden. So he was taking care of a cafe back then, in Morwell. So then he approached me. He told me, Anna, this is what is happening and stuff like that. तो मेरा तो कुछ literally ABCD पता नहीं था कि immigration officials से dealing कैसा करना है. Then he was called into an interview where he said clearly that they were given about 3 or 5 days notice to leave the country, which he said he cannot leave. And 3 to 5 days में, I don't know what struck us. We were asked to go and approach a local politician in the area and a doctor who was genuinely, this lady was very sick, and the doctor gave us all the reports. We went to the official, one politician, and that politician got us in touch with a local politician here in Melbourne. And then when we went there, they actually, they did not have to listen to us. Okay, they actually heard our story, and then they sympathized, and they said that, okay, we will give you a supporting letter. That's all they did. Okay, we'll give you a supporting letter for you and your business owner to sustain for a X duration. Whether the officials will take it or not, it is not our problem. We'll give you a letter. That letter actually went and we applied. Then we got a temporary visa. So that is when we thought, okay, ऐसे भी हो सकता है. अपने लिए क्या था, वीसा अगर रिजेक्ट होता निकलेगा.
Correct.
So, but whether we can fight back for the visa that is rejected, something we did not know until then. So he had to go through that journey, and that is when we started off, right? And he also started, and then हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, अन्ना अगर मेरे को ऐसा हो रहा है तो there may be scores of other people who may be going through a similar situation, or who might have already got deported, or who maybe have escaping somewhere, deportation, whatever. Then he showed interest to become an immigration lawyer. Because I was also doing it.
His life journey kind of led him in
totally, from whatever he studied to what he is today is totally different. Then because I was also applying for my folks, the visas, visitor visa, क्योंकि मैं घर बांधा था यहाँ पे, and then I had to call all my relatives, my immediate family members. Then we had to apply for a visa. Then I used to apply for the visa. तब तो paperwork था, पूरा paper visa था.
And he became the conduit, or
he came in late after that. But before that, I had already learned about the visa. It was only a visitor visa, not the actual immigration visa.
Correct.
So visitor visa, तो I was totally करके बैठ गया था. And also when I applied for my wife Shubhangi for her dependent visa, then also that journey, that was a totally different journey, because I was a scapegoat. I was the first person in my circle to apply a dependent visa, not knowing tail and head of it, and I just applied going through it, ticking all the checklist.
Yeah.
तो वो it's a different story altogether. ये podcast बस नहीं होगा उसके लिए बात करने के लिए. So but वो journey वहाँ से start हुआ है कि when we went to the immigration, when he went there, he spoke. He stood his stance, not giving up, saying that he's not going to leave because of X amount of reasons. And when we had that extra intervention, and that is when we were able to get a successful outcome.
Correct.
So then it grew in me, saying that okay, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. And that interest took a turn unknowingly, saying that okay, let's explore more. ये भी हो सकता था, और क्या हो सकता है. So वो eventual करते then we have become a kind of, I wouldn't say again an expert. We know to get things done.
So I mean, what the visual I'm getting when I think of this, Ashwin, is that more often than not, I mean, look, by no means are we saying that you have to do illegal things. That's not the point.
No, certainly not.
But everything that on the face of it, what looks as legal, will have some boundaries that you can stretch.
Correct.
So how much are you willing to explore that stretch is really what opens up opportunities. That's exactly
my point.
What I'm feeling here.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that there is nothing illegal here. You need to know the laws.
Correct.
You need to know the things that you need to present to the case officer, right?
Correct.
Case officer is not your friend, or he's not your
doesn't have to
sibling, and he doesn't know you.
Correct.
You need to narrate yourself. You need to come up with a story, a true story of yourself, and put it in a narration or put it in your words, so that a person who reads some novel or a book, he understands what exactly the journey is all about.
Correct.
Then he can also provide some compassionate grounds. Correct. Or he can also appreciate what is going around you and why you are asking what you are asking.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now this is another fascinating journey that maybe in the sequence of things that I told, this comes first, but in the sequence of how things have happened, we have understood how we have reached to this point, but we probably skipped one point, which is the restaurant.
Yeah. So a restaurant also happened by accident. I wouldn't say that I was planning for anything and stuff like that. As people approach me, I have been a mentor for quite a number of people in every field. And this is one of the field that people also came to me for mentorship. How do we do a business plan? How do we do progress in our current business and so forth?
And sorry to interrupt you, but they would ask you this because they just saw you as a helpful elder brother, or you had done similar things? You had done business plans, you had put up.
So because of the finance background that I have, and Raj, who is a very big promoter of me in his circle, Raj Saini, he is a very big promoter of me. I'm really happy to have him around me. He promotes me as if I know everything, but I need to keep on putting a pause on him, saying that I don't know a few things, mate. But
आप अंतर्यामी हो
नहीं वही तो लगता है ना, वही तो
आप पुरुष ही नहीं महापुरुष हो.
So then he went and told these guys who have started the restaurant, and he said, my brother is there who knows most of this stuff as to how to progress to the next level. He spoke to them, and they came to me, they approached me and saying that. Then I said, as part of the business plan, because I was in CBA, I used to do business banking and business banker. So I moved from home loans to a business banker, local business banker, as a promotion that they gave me. And when I moved into a local business banker, I used to read business plans of various businesses who used to come to apply for a loan.
Correct.
So, and also I used to suggest people, for a new person to go and get a business plan as part of the loan requirements that we used to have. For example, if a newbie or a naive businessman comes, then we need to tell him that, you come up with a business plan. They are business plan writers as such. So I was also encouraging, based on that knowledge that I gained over a period of years, I told them that, okay, Baba, go and get a business plan done, and you need these and these items to become to get that documented, and then you can either apply for a loan, or if you have any funds of your own, then you can start up. Then they said, what can we do to expand our business? I said, the best way is to go for a franchise model, or you open another restaurant in another suburb, because you're two people, you can manage two restaurants.
Would you like to name the?
It's a Dosa Corner, and the name of the restaurant was Dosa Corner, and that's when the restaurant business came. Then they said, Anna, I don't have deep pockets. I don't have money to invest. If you are okay, we will run the operations. Can you invest in this one? So that I dwelled on it for almost 3 to 5 months. I was not 200% sure, because I was in real estate. I wanted to make invest my equity, whatever I had, into real estate, and that with the intention that I would not be involved in the restaurant full time. I said okay after a few months that I will invest and you guys run the operation. So out of the two partners, one of the partner was managing the parent restaurant, and the other one also is a parent restaurant, and I and Raj Saini got into that restaurant along with Babu. So that is when the restaurant actually evolved. So Babu owned the place. We and Raj used to, because we had so much PR already done by then. So by just Ashwin ka restaurant hai, chalo wahan pe jate hain. And you are one of our customers as well. I'm sure you had come along with family then.
The Roxburgh is the one that I remember, but we have been to the one in
Roxburgh Park.
Footscray also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Footscray was the one that we started originally, and then we moved to various locations, including the one in the city. But again, that is how my journey started. And I said, that is the only thing that I will do. But then so hote bacche bhi chote the, tabhi, Shubhangi had a full-time mom, and I had the luxury of she taking care of the kids. And I was able to do all this. Otherwise, it was very tough. And another fortunate that I had, or she has, is that always our moms were one phone call away to come here.
Correct.
So that had an extra luxury for me, to have them on board, and I was getting more time to do all the things that I was exploring then. So that is when the restaurant business came in, and I'm glad that I tried that for 4 years. We tried. I thought initially I would be there, set up everything for them, and slowly move out back into my real estate. But the journey actually spanned over 4 years, and once COVID kicked in, and I could not go to that restaurant any longer because of other priorities. I had to give away my share to my current partner then.
Right. But all these are kind of life journeys which are continually shaping up for you, and I did not know about this part of the business banking side, which gave you this exposure to understand, read business plans.
True.
So in a way, I'm getting a sense that, one doesn't really plan for these things. You can't script a life journey and say that these are the 5 things I want to do. Nothing wrong. Please do that by all means. But sometimes when life is guiding you in a certain direction, it kind of makes you feel that you just grab it with both hands and you keep going up, because it's teaching you something on the way.
That's very true, right? You have nailed it there, in terms of how I'm a risk taker to an extent as well. Not I'm the heaviest one, but slightly to a extent. I don't mind taking and keeping my property portfolio spread across, and some work, some don't. Again, I had, I've learned again few hard lessons, especially with couple of properties that I've locally invested in suburbs. Not necessarily that everything you invest is going to turn out in your favor, right?
Yeah.
So, those are the things that, you need to have the appetite to take risk. That is what I would call a person who would like to take risk, and a calculated risk.
So, there are 2 very important aspects of Ashwin that we will come to, as we said, but I want to develop a bit more on this, and by no means am I saying that, and I want to mention this upfront to the viewers, that the question that I'm asking next, please don't treat it as a financial advice by any means.
Yes.
But it is more like just trying to tap onto his experiences and his learnings here. So Ashwin, Australia, for the uninitiated, they say that the Australian market, the best way to make money is real estate. Can you delve a bit more on that from your own experiences? Is that the only one, or is there any other ways in which one can do something with their money in this country?
See, I wouldn't necessarily say that real estate is the only way that people make money. So there are other businesses who have flourished by every means, not getting into real estate at all. So there is a supply chain management in Australia, which is a huge thing to go into. There is all sorts of aged care facilities that people are now slowly getting into, called NDIS. So real estate is one thing where at least you get what you have invested. That is me who is taking those kind of avenues to go into. So agar bura ho gaya, at least I have some brick and mortar that I can sell and get my money back. Whereas if you invest in something else, maybe again, as I've said, people invest in shares, managed funds, everywhere else. But again, I'm not saying that it is me who have taken a stance that मेरे को share पे जाना नहीं है, because I'm not good at it. I have not explored much on shares. Whatever my company gives, I just take and live with it, and I don't go and explore. I did not go and invest into my money into anything else.
Correct.
Except for real estate. Again, this is not a financial advice. This is me who has gone ahead in that path. Some again, who are viewing this podcast, they may have better experience in investing in managed funds. They may have good experiences in shares. So Australia is unlike any other country, right? Or like any other country, India is a classic example. We have diversified investments here. So you need to you need to invest in stuff like that. Especially nowadays, for me, because I'm in the real estate age, investment and so forth, land banking has become a huge part of, not just in Victoria, but all over Australia, because Victorian government recently has announced about 800,000 new homes that are going to come from now until to 2030.
Correct.
And they are coming in the vicinity of 40 kilometers radius from Melbourne CBD, or closely into pockets of regional area as well.
Correct.
So that if a real estate guy has listened to those information which has already been advertised from the government, I think if I have the appetite, I'll go and buy land in my budget somewhere in their vicinity that these guys may go up in the future, and have the appetite to sit on that for next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
So if you have the appetite to hold that land or house or property for next 5 to 10 years by investing less now and reap the benefits in the future, by all means do that.
Right. So it's about sort of, in a gist, if I would say that your experiences have led you in the direction of real estate.
That's
I'm
right.
sure there are others, but just like any place where you want to start investing, you've got to kind of be observant of what is happening around you, and you should be able to take those calculated risks.
That's right.
Some can work, some cannot work.
Correct.
But these are at least some clear indications that you're publicly getting, and there's nothing that we said, because it's all over the news.
Yeah.
In terms of how the government is investing in that direction and so on.
See, I just if you don't mind, if I can dwell on one point, is that I know a guy who only purchases silver and gold, nothing else. This I've seen him for the last 15 years that I have been in seeing him. All he does is, if he has cash, he says, I don't want to invest. I have one house with me. I'll go buy a gold. Whatever the price is, he'll go buy that day silver or gold, and then he comes and sits on it. वो घर के अंदर लगाता है उसके घर के. And nowadays the facilities are that you can put it with their
markets
in the bullion market where you buy.
Right.
And he only does that. He doesn't believe in real estate. He doesn't believe in management. So as you know, from I have been seeing gold, especially desi log mein gold to chandi or sona to they will be anytime. It never goes down.
Correct.
Till date, I have not seen the prices of silver and gold go down at all.
Okay? Absolutely.
Only thing is it is shot up, at least 3 folds, 4 folds.
What happens is the growth pace declines. That's all.
That's right. So there are such kind of people that I know in my area, and I know one person also who is only into buying trucks and leasing it out. Supply chain, nothing else. He has only one property. वो बोलता है कि अश्विन भाई मैं ठीक हूँ, मैं आराम से हूँ यहाँ पे, लोग आते हैं, गाड़ी चलाते हैं, मेरे को चलता है, और क्या चाहिए, गाड़ी चल रहा है रोड पे, मेरा पैसा आ रहा है बैंक में, और क्या. So those are the things, so I have seen varieties of people.
Correct.
And there's nothing wrong. Whatever is working for you, please. Yeah.
Since you mentioned that, this is just hearsay, but a friend of mine was also mentioning similar scenario. You know, like on the face of it, the person will look like it's a very simple person. Like, गांव से आए हैं type, right? But then when you get talking, you realize the guy actually owns 200 trucks.
Yeah, man, everybody's so surprised. You'll feel,
and he is talking in terms of saying that, भाई मैं इतना cash देके खरीदने को तैयार हूँ, बता क्या ले सकता हूँ.
Exactly.
And on the same lines, another friend of mine, Jay Babulal was his name. He used to be here in Australia, is now in the US. Had told about how he does. He probably comes more from the other side where he's investing into shares. I don't know if you still do that, Jay, but he told me something very fascinating that stuck on to me. Right, I have not followed it, just to be clear, because that's not me, not my style. But what he said was so amazing. He's like, his wife wanted an iPhone. So he said, "ठीक है भाई, iPhone चाहिए. I'm going to buy you an iPhone." 2 आईफोन के पैसे निकाले उसने.
क्या बात है?
एक आईफोन बीवी को खरीद के दिया, दूसरा जितना आईफोन का पैसा था उसने एप्पल के शेयर में डाल दिया. Okay, 3 years down the line, wife's iPhone is gone. The money that he put there has gone up by 10 times.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
So I'm like, each to their own, and whatever strikes or works well with you, is
that's
something
right.
very
Exactly. So as I've said, people need to take calculated risk. And make sure that they're okay, and they're if something happens, they have the appetite to bounce back.
Bounce back, absolutely. So in the same journey, I want to ask you, there is one more thing that you are associated with and you do very well, and that is you are a Vastu expert.
Yep.
How does that happen?
Again, this I got it from my brother Ajit. So he is very big, and when I started building my first home in Melton, that was in 2006. I was because my dad used to believe heavily in Vastu. So, and my brother used to, he still does. So he looks after all those, feng shui things, Vastu things. And I slowly started getting some knowledge transfer from him done. And I said, I'm planning to build this. Because here in Australia, the thing is that, not every builder is flexible to make changes to your home. So, and then, I slowly, started to say that, okay, boss, I will give you so many houses to build. You tell me, at least for my house and my kith and kin or whoever next to me, I want certain changes, minor modifications to my internal structure, which they were not too happy about. But I talked them into it I gave them the reasoning, and then I said, ये कर लो. अगर ये कर रहा है तो तुमको 5 घर मिलेगा बांधने के लिए. नहीं तो कुछ नहीं. You win it or lose it. See, at that time, salesperson were also hungry for sales. And they said, okay, let me talk. Because once these guys are doing, ये plan है, इसका ये plan का लकड़ी already cut हो चुका है कहीं, हम उसको ही लेके आके बांधेंगे. तुमको अगर assembly plan करना है तो I cannot, get it. Like I can assemble and वो. So, but I talked them into it. So, yes, but if it is a carpenter is there or if a framer is there, he knows what to do. पूछ के देखो. Then they went to office, they asked, after Aji and backward and forward, we landed into a certain area, and where Vastu is also, you don't necessarily have to be 100% compliant. For any Vastu to work or Feng Shui to work, from my knowledge that I have gained, again, this is not I'm not an expert to give you advice, but 60 to 80% अगर वास्तु है, आपका घर शांति है. Again, there is, I'm not saying that वास्तु है वो तो पूरा everything is funky dory. नहीं. Life will go pear shaped. Correct. And you need to live with it. Correct. Learn to live with it. And how much compromise you do with you and with your surroundings is up to the individual. Correct. Yeah. Correct. So then my brother always kept on feeding me about certain positioning of the certain things within the house and outside the house, and that interest led me into, because I was also building my house obviously as a keen Vastu follower. I wanted my first house to be always compliant, and then I made sure that my house was compliant to maximum extent. So, and obviously you're still continuing that. Yes. You do advise certain builders on from a Vastu perspective. See, what I've been doing is certain builders have taken up on board and they have designed the Vastu plans to suit the Indian diaspora, so that whoever has gone through, they have presented those based on the direction of the house. So based on the direction of the house, we have designed and we have provided them. They are still in existence, but again, everyone has their own requirement on top of that. Again, they go to private builders. Now, there are a lot of custom builders who have come up, and Indian builders are also there who have come up and done a lot of things, changes as per current.
And they can accommodate all this very easily.
Very true.
Correct.
And I don't charge anything for that, and I don't go and proactively tell that you do this for example, Sanjeev, आप घर बांध रहे हो, मैं आके नहीं बताऊंगा कि भाई तू ये कर. Unless Sanjeev comes and asks me, yeah, do you know anything about Vastu? Because I don't want to superimpose my thoughts on that.
Correct.
Because they would have already envisaged how the house needs to be and what they need, what they want in the house. So, uske hisab se, unless the people come and who believes in it, then I try and tell them. And if they want me to go deeper, I will go based on my limited knowledge. But I will just keep it at that.
Correct. And on that point, I just want to call out two things. First is what struck me when you talked of timelines, right? So you came into the country itself in 2003.
Correct.
Right? Then you graduated and got into the workforce roughly around 2005-ish,
Yep.
right? And 2006 you start building your house.
Yes, I did.
Talk about risk taking, guys. I mean, all of us have been there, done that. For especially the ones who have come as immigrants, how many of you, hand on heart, in the third year of you getting into the country, especially after being 2 years of that being a student, have gone and started building a house? Hats off to you. That is a testament of risk taking, honestly.
Thank you.
Which I don't know how many of us can take even now. But this is the same house that you lived in Melton before you moved here.
Correct. That's right.
So that house was almost for about 17 years or so.
I lived there for 15 years.
15 years.
And then moved to this suburb called Glenway Valley for kids education. Not that the schools were there bad, but the exposure that we are getting here for the kids were far more than what I was getting there for my kids. Again, every individual is different. So I just moved here because the passion that the kids are having elsewhere in the sports and everything. So I thought this is my logical place to be now.
Correct. So this conversation is getting very interesting. There are obviously a few things that we still have to cover, but we will have to take a break and we will come back in the next episode. And in the next episode, we'll explore a bit more about Ashwin's other passions. So we call him Dhoni. So we'll get to know why and we'll get to know what that influence around him is like. And then there are a few things which are very personal at what Ashwin does, but you see that his personality and his ability to weave everything together comes into those journeys as well, which is both on the spiritual side as well as on the political side. So we'll explore that journey a bit more. Don't go anywhere. Come back on the next episode of the CoolKarnis. Thank you. This is Sanjeev and Ashwin signing off.
Thank you so much.